Icon series.
Morning children. So we have quite successfully completed the previous chapter in the last class, and now it's time for us to start a new lesson. Okay, and in this lesson we are going to learn something new, something different. So this is about something that was written by a small girl. Okay. So we know that some people have the habit of writing diaries, isn't it? Diary entries. Like all that have happened throughout the day, they will enter in a diary at the end of the day. Okay. So the good things, the bad things, the memories, or what they felt, what they thought, something about the persons whom they met. All these information they will put in this diary page. So there are a lot of people who has this habit of writing diary, and some of these diaries are very world famous also. Means, yes, diaries are quite personal. Obviously, they are personal. But some people have published these diaries also. Published means, yes, they publish it as a book. Okay. So there is one particular diary that is world famous. World famous. And that was written by a small girl of hardly 13 years old. Okay. This world famous diary was written by a girl, a 13-year-old girl, and her name is Anneliese Mary Frank. Annelies. Marie Frank. What is the name of the girl? Her name is Anneliese Mary Frank. So she is usually known as Anne Frank, right? Her full name is Anneliese Mary Frank, and she is known mostly as Annie Frank. So Annie Frank was actually a German Jewish girl. Okay. So they were basically German, and they were Jews. Jew is actually a group of people. Okay, a different religion kind of a thing. Okay, and it was the Second World War time. Second World War. What do you mean by World War? Yeah, a World War is a war in which the maximum number of countries in the world have participated. The entire world divides into two groups and they fight. So it has happened twice in the history. First World War and the Second World War are what we call them. And the Second World War actually happened from 1939 to 1945. What is that? Second World War. Okay. So the Second World War happened in between 1939 to 1945. Germany was one of the leading powers on one side, and the other side we had England, Japan, and all. Okay. So Germany was then ruled by one of the most powerful rulers of all times. His name is Adolf Hitler. His name was Adolf Hitler. Now, one basic problem that Adolf Hitler had was he hated Jews. Okay, the Jewish people, the people who belonged to the community of Jews, he hated the most. And he had made it a policy that the German soldiers should kill as many Jews as possible. Okay? So that also was one of the reasons for this war also. So whatever. Annie Frank belonged to a Jewish family, and her father was actually working in Netherlands, right? It's another country in Europe. Where is that? Netherlands, right? And the people of this region is called the Dutch people, Netherlands. The capital of Netherlands is Amsterdam. It's a very beautiful city. It's a very beautiful city, Amsterdam. Amsterdam is the capital of Netherlands, and Annie Frank's father was actually working there in Amsterdam. Okay, so Annie Frank's father was a German. They were Jewish, and he was working in Amsterdam. Netherlands was defeated by Germans. Netherlands was defeated by Germans, and the German army was actually traveling throughout the Netherlands in search of the Jewish German people. Right? Jewish German people. Why? Yes, they want to kill all the Jewish people on the world. Okay? So Annie Frank had then just celebrated her 13th birthday. Annie Frank was a small girl at that time, and she had just celebrated her 13th birthday, and a diary was gifted to her on her 13th birthday. Okay, somebody gave her a gift, and that gift was a diary. So she felt this diary very close to her. Okay, she felt this diary very close to her, and she named this diary Kitty. So what is Kitty? Kitty is a name that Annie Frank gave to the diary which was gifted to her on her 13th birthday. Right? Then, immediately after that, the German soldiers started searching in Amsterdam for the German Jewish people, and Annie Frank, his family, and her father's friends and all, they had to live in a secret room above her father's office. Okay, so in our houses also we have old houses. For example, if this is a structure of the room. Okay, there will be a separation here, isn't it? There will be some space over here. Yeah. So this is called the attic. Okay, it's called the attic. So this is something like a hidden place, a secret room kind of an area. And her office, her father's office, not her office. She was a small girl then, isn't it? Yes. So her father's office actually had such kind of a secret room above his office, and Annie Frank, her family, and some of his friends and their families also. Her father's friends and their families also, they lived in this secret room above her father's office for almost 2 years. How long did they live in that room? They lived in that secret room for almost 2 years. Means hiding from the German soldiers who were roaming around the region in search of German Jewish people to identify them, to catch them, and to kill them. Okay, so they lived themselves in the secret room above her father's office for 2 years. It's quite impossible for them to come out. It's quite impossible for them to come out, because if anybody identified them, then they can be shot dead. Okay, so how long did Annie Frank, her family, her father's friends and their families live in this secret room? For 2 years. Right? So these time, life was quite difficult. There won't be enough food, there's no freedom. These are small kids, so they would like to go out and play. There is no options for that. Life was very difficult during these times, and German soldiers are the biggest trouble. Okay, so they could do nothing but to sit there, live there, help each other as much as possible. There is nothing else that they can do. Eat the food that is available, stay there. No freedom. No freedom. No free space. They cannot shout. They cannot play. Impossible. Anne Frank had this diary which was actually gifted to her on her 13th birthday with her. Okay, so what did she do? Yes, she will. There is a small window there. So whenever they get some time, they will go there, open the window and look out at the nature. Look out at the nature. And when they look out at the nature, they would like to go out because beyond that room, the world is a free world. Isn't it? It's open, it's free. Inside the room, it's almost like they are inside a jail. Isn't it? Everything is restricted. They cannot move freely, they cannot talk freely, they cannot sing, they cannot dance, they cannot play. Is it possible for you if we shut you inside a room and give you some food for 2 years? So Annie, along with other people, other kids in the group, they may go there, open the window, look out at the nature. I know different seasons are there. So when there is a change in the season, definitely there will be a lot of change in the nature also. Admire them, look at them, enjoy them, have different kinds of thoughts, may have different kinds of feelings also. So all these her observations, her thoughts, her feelings, everything he shared with Kitty. Who is Kitty? Kitty is the diary that she got as a gift on her 30th birthday, isn't it? Yes. So she wrote all these things, her observations, her thoughts, her feelings, about everything, about her life there, about the people there are there around them, about the room where they are living, about the kinds of things that they know from the world outside, about the nature that they can look out through the window. Everything. She observed everything, she thought about everything, and every single thing she wrote on the pages of his diary. Later, Second World War came to an end. She became free, just like any other people who hated themselves during that time. They became free. Hitler committed suicide because he was sure to be caught. Okay, if he was caught, then he will be killed. So before the enemies could kill him or catch him, he shot himself and died. So World War II came to an end. These people became free and they came out of their hidings. And later, after many years, she even published the diary as a novel. Right? So the diary that Anne Frank wrote was named as the Diary of a Young Girl. So what is a book which is actually the diary written by Anne Frank? Yeah, a diary, the Diary of a Young Girl, written by Anne Frank. Okay, and this was actually published after her death. During her, when she was alive, it was still kept as a personal thing. But after her death, these writings, whatever she has written over there, was published as a novel. Right? So in this lesson, actually what we have got is a page, what she has written in a diary. Okay? So this diary was actually written on February 23rd, 1944. February 23, 1944. 1 year before the end of the Second World War. Okay. and that was a Wednesday. So this is the way we start the diary. So nowadays in the diaries they do already mention the year, the date, the day and all, isn't it? Yes. If there is not, if those things are not mentioned, like the year or the day or the date are not mentioned, then we have to mention that, right? So February 23rd, 1944, Wednesday. And she writes as if she is saying these things to Kitty, her friend, isn't it? Yes. So the diary starts as a dear Kitty, my dear friend. It's lovely weather outside and I've quite perked up since yesterday. The weather is amazing outside. The weather is quite amazing. Nearly every morning I go to the attic to blow off the stuffy air in my lungs. So throughout the night we are enclosed inside this room and we are filled with this there's a dirty air of a what? Not having any freedom to move, think at all. It's disgusting. And that disgusting air is filled in my lungs. So every morning I go to the attic, to the window, and I just blow it off. Okay, I just go to the window and what? Yes, I empty my lungs with this and I breathe in the fresh air outside. The world outside and inside is that different. It's all lovely, fresh air. It's all lonely, bonded here. So as usual, every morning I go to the attic and I breathe in the fresh air. Peter was busy this morning when I went there. Peter, there's another member who was living there. He was busy cleaning up. From my favorite spot on the floor, I look up at the blue sky. From the favorite spot. So there is a spot where I can simply sit and look at outside through the window that we have over there. So as I sat there, I could see the blue sky over there. Then the bare chestnut tree. Chestnut is a kind of a nut that even we eat. So there is a tree there and that is bare. Barren means yes, even the leaves have gone off. So some trees have this speciality that they shed their leaves during the autumn season. Okay, so just like that, the tree had a shed. There are no more fruits over there, no more nuts over there, and any leaves also. So I can see the clear blue cloudless sky over there and the barren chestnut tree over there, on whose branches little raindrop shines like silver, and the seagulls and other birds as they glide on the wind. So it rained the last night, it seems, and there are still some raindrops hanging on these bare branches of this chestnut tree. See, what a beautiful scene that is. Yeah? A tree which has got its branches with a lot of water droplets hanging here and there. And in the morning sun, they glow as if it has got some silver things hanging on the tree. The sky is open, plain. There are no clouds. It's a clear blue sky. And the barren, bare chestnut tree is standing there without any leaves and fruits. And a lot of rain droplets are hanging here and there on the branches of it, which glitter like some silver ornaments in the early morning. And there are so many birds, like the seagulls. Seagulls means what? Yeah, it's a seabird. Seabird means a bird which can fly over the sea for a long time and catch fish from the sea. Okay, so seagulls as they glide on the wind. Amsterdam is actually a coastal area. Okay, so it's very close to the sea, and there are these kinds of birds in plenty. So as the wind blows, these birds are flying and gliding along with that wind. Okay, so as usual, I sat there. Peter was busy cleaning up, getting the things ready for the next thing. Okay, it's morning again. They need to do some things. So I sat there and I started observing the nature through the window. And he stood with his head against a thick beam, and I sat down. So he was standing here. He was a tall man, and he had these beams. The beams means the thick wooden panels which are used here. Okay, for the roofing. So he was standing against that because he had a beam here, and she was sitting there. And what was he doing there? We breathed the fresh air, looked outside, and both felt that the spell should not be broken by the words. It was so amazing an experience that we never spoke anything over there. We were just breathing the fresh air, observing the nature outside. We were not speaking anything. Then they went up to chop woods. Chop wood means cut wood into pieces so that they can use it as a firewood. If they want to cook something, they will use this, isn't it? Even we have it, no, in the villages and all. We have the stoves where they use wood to as a fuel, right? So Peter went up. Peter went up means yes, the topmost parts here to chop wood, cut wood into pieces. And as he went up, he was doing it, and he wanted to show that he is strong, energetic, and all. Okay, so he was just standing there and chopping the woods, and he was a nice fellow. He was a very good fellow. Peter is a very good guy. He was chopping woods there. I was sitting here and observing her, and we never spoke anything. We never spoke anything. We were doing all this in a silence, and I looked out through the open window. I just looked out through the open window, and from there I can see a very good part of Amsterdam. Okay, because they are on the top of the house, isn't it? Almost on the top of the house. So from there, she can see a very good part of Amsterdam and over the roofs and horizon. So from here, if she looks, she can see the roofs of other houses over there, isn't it? And the farther end, the horizon. The clear blue sky, the rooftops, and some hanging silver looking raindrops. Right? Amazing scene. So she just observed Peter sometimes as he was chopping the woods, and after that she just looked out through the window and was observing and enjoying the nature. And she felt, as long as this exists, what the nature exists, as long as the nature is there, I may live to see it. This is sunshine, the cloudless skies. While this lasts, I cannot be unhappy. There is nothing in this world as far as now the time is concerned for me to be happy. I cannot go out, I cannot play, there is no freedom. But as long as this nature is there, as long as I am able to sit over here at the favorite place that I have over here and look at the nature outside, enjoy them, I don't find any reason to be unhappy. Okay, so nature has such a great impact in her life. She sat there at her favorite spot, looked out through the window, and she could see nothing else. The clear blue skies, the cloudless skies over there, the horizon, and the rooftops of Amsterdam. Somewhere in the farthest parts may be some sea, which is also there in Amsterdam. Nothing more. But still, she felt, as long as nature is there, there is some reason for me to be happy. And she also had another opinion that if you are afraid of something, if you feel that you are very lonely, or if you feel that if you are very unhappy, okay, so what are the situations? If you are afraid, if you are lonely, if you are unhappy, what you need to do is just to go outside somewhere. take a long walk on the road, reach a park or some farm or some place where you can be lonely, you cannot be disturbed by anybody else. You are all alone. Okay? Where you are all alone, and only things that you have over there is the heaven above, the God and the nature around you, nothing else. Okay? So if you are lonely, if you are sad, or if you are afraid of something, just to take a walk to a place where there are only you, the nature, the God and the heavens. Right? Then you will feel much inspired, much changed, because nature has such kind of an impact on us. Nature can bring such a kind of changes in us that we will forget everything around. All our sorrows, all our fear, all our sadness, all our loneliness will be lost once when we start to get ourselves involved in the nature. The moment we start to realize that we are also a part of the nature, then we will become very happy. Just like the flowers, just like the butterflies, just like the grass, the stones, the trees, the farms, the hills, the rivers, the lakes, we are also part of it. Okay? Now, then we will have the courage. See, Anne Frank with her family and all these people together lived in that room for 2 years. 2 years. We cannot even think about that for 2 hours. But they lived for 2 years because this nature was the inspiration. Nature is ultimate inspiration. Whenever we feel that we are running out of inspiration, whenever we need some encouragement, look at nature. Nature can give it to the best level. Okay? As long as this exists. As long as this exists. Because, see, God has created the world, God has created us, and what God actually wants is to see us happy among all that He has created. The nature, the hills, the mountains, the rivers, the trees, the birds, the seas, the seashore, all these are created by God. And He will be very happy to see us happy in among that. Wars, troubles, problems, these are man-made. We created these kinds of issues. Okay? And God would never like to watch us to be among all these things. God will be ultimately happy to see us. It's very simple. We need not try to do something, big, very huge things to make God happy. If we are happy with those things that are around us in the nature, then God will be happy because God has created all these things for us. Got the point? Huh? The fruits, the flowers, the trees, the plants, the birds, the butterflies, the insects, the animals, the hills, the mountains, the rivers, the streams, the plains, the grasslands. Huh? The nature, the sky, the rainbow, the rain, the sunshine, the snow. Everything in this world God has created for us. If we are happy with that, then obviously God also will be happy. Very simple. On your birthday, you brought chocolates. Why? You want to give the chocolate to your friend and to make your friend happy. If your friend is happy with the chocolate that you give, you also will be happy, isn't it? If your friend is not happy, how do you feel? You also will feel unhappy. In the same way, if we are happy with what we have around us in the nature, the God also will be happy. But what do? We do create troubles, wars, problems, issues, damaging the nature itself. So, as long as the nature is there as what it is, we will be happy, and as long as we are happy, God also will be happy. That is what Annie left. Okay? I know that there will always be comfort for every sorrow, whatever the circumstance may be. As long as the nature is so, whatever the circumstances we are in, when we look at the nature or when we try to become the part of the nature, definitely we will get comfort. Definitely we will find comfort. Got it? Yes. Then, I firmly believe that nature brings a solace. Solace means what? Comfort. Solace means a comfort. Oh, who knows? Perhaps it won't be long before I can share this overwhelming feeling of bliss with someone whom feels the way I do about it. So Peter also is there now. Peter also feels the same thing. He is also much worried and troubled about it. Is the life they had been leading. But she was sure that someday, very soon, I may be able to share these kinds of feelings that I feel with Peter. See, they came to the window, they took a long breeze of the fresh air and they just looked out through the window, but they didn't speak anything, isn't it? So Peter also feels the same thing that what Anne was feeling, but they were not sharing. So Annie knew it that Peter also has the same feelings, and now she thinks very soon I may be able to share these kinds of feelings with someone who also feels it the same. Yours, Annie. So we start the diary by addressing the diary and we end it with a signature, and that is yours, Annie. So all throughout the diary, there's the diary of a young girl. Same way, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, everything that she felt during her life in that single room. The secret room was shared. And the world came to know how the people suffered or how the people were affected by this world war through her diary. Okay, so Annie Frank has such a great importance in the English literature now because of this diary, right? So this is the lesson part of Annie Frank, a diary page. We have just to read just one day's diary, okay? But she had written it for almost 2 years. Almost for 2 years she had written it in the same way. And the entire diary, all the pages that she had written in that diary got published after her death. Okay, so just one day, which was the day February 23rd, 1944, is what we read now. Okay, so we can understand how difficult the life of the people will be if there is a war or some other such situations. Okay. So that is the importance of Annie Frank and her diary. So that is the lesson part, Annie Frank, a diary page. Now it is time for us to go to the activity part and the question answers of this lesson, right?